It's been more down than up for the party in the last few days, with policy U-turns, splits and doubts over her leadership. But there was no change in the basic message from Liz Truss here, that radical action was needed to head off the cost of living crisis.
Families would have been unable to heat their homes. Businesses would have gone bust. Jobs would have been lost. And we would have worse public services, including the NHS. I couldn't allow this to happen. I refused to consign our great country to decline.
Some protesters had smuggled themselves inside.
Let's get them removed.
Let's get them removed, you can hear the Prime Minister say. In fact, this anti-fracking demonstration helped rally the audience to her. She said when the 45p rate change had become a distraction, she ditched it. And she warned some would find the changes she wanted uncomfortable.
As the last few weeks have shown, it will be difficult. Whenever there's change, there is disruption. And not everybody will be in favour of change, but everyone will benefit from the result.
She insisted she was in lockstep with her Chancellor, and in case the message wasn't already clear...
I have three priorities for our economy: growth, growth and growth.
She identified what she called an anti-growth coalition, made up of, among others, strikers, disruptive protesters and people who talked Britain down.
The anti-growth coalition think that people who stick themselves to trains, roads and buildings are heroes. I say the real heroes are the people who go out to work, take responsibility and aspire to a better life for themselves and their families.
Enthusiastic support here, but she knows this is just the start. She must get the confidence of the party, the country and the market that she has a plan for the economy. I thought it was exactly what the Conservative Party needs. It was a very clear statement of Conservative principles. It was a truly excellent speech.
There's clearly a lot of unhappiness within the party about the direction of travel. Enthusiasm here, but will that be enough?
I'd be very surprised if Conservatives are unhappy about being Conservative. It's what they spent their lives in politics doing. And the Conservative Party, I'm so sorry, the Conservative Party is showing itself to be a tax-cutting party that supports growth.
She was elected only a few weeks ago with a very clear mandate from the Conservative Party. I think that we should all now get behind her, give her the space that she deserves as our elected leader to not just lead the party, but lead the country through these challenging times.
There has been a lot of dissent in the Cabinet. What's your message to any of your Cabinet colleagues, even other MPs?
The Cabinet is absolutely united behind the Prime Minister in terms
People
of the
were speaking
growth,
out.
in terms of the plan for growth, and that's what we'll get on and deliver.
She'll be happy to leave this conference behind, but the doubters, the critics, even the plotters will surely follow her back to Westminster.
OK, let's speak to Andy from Birmingham now. So, Andy, Liz Truss telling Tory members there that she's going to get Britain through the tempest. What did you make of it?
Well, Liz Truss finished with a standing ovation in the hall here, and that has to be marked down as progress after the conference she's had. But the crucial point is the verdict here doesn't matter. Over the next few days and weeks, I think two verdicts are going to be passed, which are going to be very important. First of all, she's going to discover back at Westminster just how many of her own MPs are still prepared to back her, and therefore what can she get through Parliament. And secondly, the markets, the financial markets, are going to continue to examine her economic plan to see if it is credible or not. I think those are the two verdicts which we will maybe get in the next few weeks that will really decide Liz Truss's fate.
And Andy, I want your verdict after all of these. The two biggest parties, they've concluded their conferences. How do you think Labour and the Conservatives did?
Well, Claudia Liza, last week in Liverpool, Labour, a party that had been out of power for 12 years, started to look and feel and think of themselves as a party that could soon be back in power. And as a result, there was a lot more discipline and very little deviation from the line laid down by the leadership. Here this week, we've really had the mirror image of that. This is a party that's been in power for years, which now seriously thinks it could soon be out of power, and therefore discipline was breaking down, and there were all sorts of arguments, even in public. So we may not have an election for 2 years, and a lot can happen in that time, but on the basis of the last 2 weeks, it's certainly been a better fortnight for Labour.